Actually, you know what? Let's change that up. Let's talk about the day that coyotes hunted me. Um, 16 or 17, kind of moody. I mean, I don't know how adolescents are today, but I was damaged in a nightmare. Damaged from all my bullying, but whatever, it doesn't matter. Um, and I'm out there building the spire. And most of the time when I built the spire, I worked on the weekends, sometimes evenings. If I had a rough day at home, I would literally leave and I would go work on the spire until the sunset. Um, when I was in school, that's all I could think about because it was built over a period of like I think 2 or 3 years. And when I was in school, like going through school, I kept thinking about, oh man, this summer I'm gonna work on it. It's gonna be fucking awesome. I'm gonna be able to put full days onto this thing. And I would literally leave at 10 in the morning after a good breakfast, and I'd go there and I work there until the sunset. Boy, howdy, do I have stories for you when the sun set. Um, and this was a good day. It was very sunny, the sky was blue, a few clouds, and I was making my way back from a session on the spire. Now, what I later learned was that what the coyotes presented me with was typical hunting behavior. So, the trail that I used to go back was the main trail that went all the way back to like a church area and whatnot, whatever. And then the main like storm drain area that's still there. I think it's more finished now. Back then it was just a big blown out hole in the ground. And this entire area is connected to the back lot of a storage facility that is fenced off, and it's wildlands on the other side of the fence. So you have forest, trail, fence, wildlands, storage facility. And I'm making my way back along the trail, and I hear yipping and yapping. Now I know these are not dogs, and I recently heard that coyotes had started coming down from the north because they were out of food. I don't know if that's still a thing. I don't even know if that's true or not. But who knows, right? And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you know, I'm walking beside my bike because I always had my bike with me. My bike was my second soul. Um, and there's a coyote about, I'd say about 30 meters. He cracks out of the woods, goes down into the ditch, comes out onto the trail, and the fence is right there, and he stops. Sideways. He's presenting his side to me, and he's looking at me. Now, at this time, I was starting to become a relative know-it-all, and I was 95% sure that was typical hunting behavior for them, because when I looked behind me, there was a pair of them coming up the trail. And I knew that if there was one in front of me and a pair of them coming up the trail, there was probably 4 or 5 in the woods beside me. Because they were using the fence as a wall to prevent prey from leaving. You know what I did? I got on my bike, and I just gunned it. I was done. I was done, because I knew that when coyotes get hungry, they will literally eat anything. Anything. And if they're hungry because they're out of food, well, then they're gonna go after people. How fascinating. I still remember that day. It was incredible. And very weird and very strange. I don't know. Anyways, that was when I got hunted by coyotes, essentially. Not the first time I've interacted with dangerous animals in the woods. Bobcats are not fun. Bobcats are weird. Cats are weird. Let's talk about cats for a second. Okay. The way I understand it is that felines don't domesticate well. So, like, when we're dealing with cats, right, there are 5 cats living in the house with me. They don't come into my room. However, I do love one of them. The other ones, they're fine. And it seems like they're... The closest thing I could say is like friendly psychopathic killers. Like, they don't really interact with each other, they're very individualistic. So some of them are very friendly and very nice and, accommodating. Others are total assholes who will literally pee in your boots. It depends on how they feel that day, I guess. And apparently, like, that's the difference between domestication and tameness, is that if something is tame, they still have properties that are undesirable in a domesticated version of that animal, right? Dogs are fully domesticated, almost to, like, an unnecessary point. I understand that we've been doing it since we domesticated them, like breeding them for certain sizes and creating different breeds and whatnot, but some of the breeds that we made were just kind of deserve to go extinct. I'm sorry, but like, if a pug... Is it a pug or a bulldog? I don't know, they've been working on it, trying to fix the problem, like trying to breed in more viable, gene stock. But like, if a pug's eyes are like... And they can barely breathe because they've been bred for that, right? I don't know what was the original use of a pug? Yeah, these are literally... They're little purse dogs. They were bred to be companions of ancient Chinese royalty. How weird is that? Anyways, that was the little addendum I wanted to add onto my Spire story. I will talk more about the Spire because, I mean, I'm a scientific human being, but the shit that happened at the Spire was bananas. Just bananas. I will talk about it, and I will literally get goosebumps every single time I talk about it, because the shit that I pretty much incited, I think, was very interesting. Oh man. Like, the grass stopped growing around it, and I mean, like, I know what, like, trail grass, like, grass that's been trampled by continuous walking. I had a trail going in, like, to the Spire from where I was gathering my wood. However, the grass just stopped growing for about, I think it was like 2.5 meters of radius, so 5-meter diameter of like a circle of just dead soil. And oh man, the sunsets were the worst. I did 2 sunsets at the Spire, and I mean like full sunsets, like you watch it from it touching the ground until it's gone. And one of those sunsets was, yeah, I'm getting goosebumps again, Jesus. I hate talking about it. One of those sunsets was late in the year. Autumn was coming. And here I was, like, tying, I think I was tying a bundle, so when they crossed over and, like, sat on each other, I think I was tying the very, like, the point of touch together so that they didn't fall apart. And, this thing came out of the woods. And I'm not going to talk about it right now. That'll be my next video. I know I started with talking about, like, the philosophy of addiction and stuff like that, but I like talking about, like, crazy shit that I've done. It's fun to me. I wish I'd done more crazy shit at this point. I mean, my transition is crazy. That's insane. I'm not going to talk about it because no one wants to fucking hear about it. There's enough people out there who's like, oh, look at my transition, I'm so perfect. It's like, listen, it's not about the people. Like, I understand that you want to, like, celebrating such, how do I describe it? Celebrating such momentous liberation is something that you can project. However, when you're cramming it down the mouths of people, that's when people you don't want looking at you start looking at you, right? And look, see that, see that? That's my ring. I wear that ring with pride every single day, because this ring helps people that I interact with on a more than casual basis see that they need to get my pronouns right. However, if one of them were to mess up my pronouns, I was called a he for the first, let's be generous here, for the first 25 years of my life. I'm used to it. So when someone calls me buddy or sir, it does bother me a little bit, but it's like, bro, I'm making your life more complicated. The least I can do as a trans person is accept that nobody is perfect and no one's going to get my pronouns right away. That is so critical and so unbelievably important for so many people out there, because celebrating who you are is not a crime. Doing the equivalent of rioting in the streets for multiple days is not good either. And what I mean by the cultural equivalent of rioting in the streets is like, we are, and I'm part of this group, we are on our keyboards ready to fucking go. Like, I'm like, come on, give me a bad comment. Let's do it. Rock and roll. I'm ready. I got all the answers. Truth is, I have none of the answers. So, the best that I can do as me is celebrate myself with people who want to celebrate it, and allow people who are not used to the idea of it a time of adaptation, right? And this is the most important one, is like, they will adapt. They will adapt. You know, they will see that if you are happier in your body, if you are happier in your soul, if you don't have that, I call it the soul scream, which is that like that slow internal like vibration of dysphoria that's kind of like slowly eroding away your will. You don't have that anymore. You know, that's worth celebrating. Just, I feel like some people are way too into their what effects they will have on society. Just do it. And if you have problems, fight those problems, but don't be an asshole about it everywhere you go. Just don't. Just try not to, please. Anyways, this was an interesting video.